Hi, I'm Carolyn Kessel Stewart. I live in Maynard on Harrison Street, and I've been here since 2000. We bought our house in 2003, my husband Greg Stewart and I, and we love Maynard, and it's where our two children were born. We have a 9-year-old son and a 7-year-old son, and they've grown up going to the Maynard public schools, and through them is a way that we've gotten to know a lot of the people in town. I grew up in Acton, and my husband grew up in Concord, and we were introduced to each other in Concord, and then we moved to Maynard because his family had already, one member had moved here, and it was, the most affordable town in the area. So we didn't know a lot of people, but we knew that it was affordable. And, since then, we've really come to, love the community here in a small town. Our kids are in the inaugural, the beginning of this Spanish immersion program that starts at the elementary school, and our son Ben was in the 2nd class ever. He's gone through kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade now. He's in Emmeline's class. And our younger son Andrew is in 1st grade in the same program. So they're learning in school in Spanish, all of their instruction other than their specials and their free time.
So once they graduate high school, essentially they'll be fluent in Spanish?
We hope. Yeah, they read in Spanish now, they write in Spanish. My older son speaks well in Spanish. The younger one is still learning to speak in Spanish comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
So
you think it's a valuable program that we have in Maynard?
I do. I think it was a good risk that the school committee took. Maynard has not been known for great schools, and we're surrounded by really great schools. And I think there was a need or a demand for parents for more enrichment in the curriculum. And so they decided to implement this program, not only to give the enrichment, but to keep families enrolled all the way through 12th grade, because there will be advanced Spanish classes for these kids all the way through 12th grade. So, there has been a little bit of pushback from the community, but overall, it's been terrific. So we feel really, really lucky that they're able to do this. And they have Spanish-speaking cousins, so it's really nice for us as a family to have them be able to, communicate. Even though the other cousins speak English too, it's still cool.
Yeah, especially since Spanish is such a growing language nowadays.
Mm-hmm. I know. We have friends in other places who say, "Oh, this is so typical, to have a Spanish immersion program," but it's not very common around here. So it's great. Yeah.
So, what was the pushback from the community?
Well, there's only one class per grade that is a Spanish immersion class. So there was a little bit of, why can't everybody have some Spanish rather than have one immersion class? But the way that they can do this is to not have it be an expense to the community, because you're simply hiring a Spanish-speaking teacher.
Mm-hmm.
You're spending additional funds on the program because you need a teacher for a class anyway, and they tend to have high enrollment. I think our cap is 25 students, and these classes are fully enrolled, at least in the very beginning. So some people want it to be available not just to a few, and other people are still concerned that there might be some hidden expense involved.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I've heard.
So what is the process you have to go through to get your child enrolled?
It's a lottery.
It's a lottery.
Yeah. So put their name in, and the first 25 to get pulled from the jar, the winners.
Just to keep it fair, I guess. Yeah.
Yep. There's no preference for siblings, and oftentimes there's a waiting list that then people who were the the first 25 decide not to enroll until people on the waiting list get moved in to be in that class. So, yeah. But we couldn't be happier about it.
So you and your husband grew up around in surrounding towns.
Mhm.
What do you think is the difference growing up in those towns versus growing up in a town like Maynard?
Maynard is great because I know the parents of the kids that my kids are in school with, so it's just a much smaller place. I think my husband, who's a carpenter, feels comfortable here because there are a lot of tradespeople, there are a lot of teachers. I'm a teacher, and I think there are a lot of people that we know here who just want the best for their family and their community and their kids, and so I think we've been able to become friends with a lot of like-minded people. So a lot of people who enjoy creative endeavors too. So you have artists, you have writers, you have other people. I think partly because it's a bit more affordable. That's my guess.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to these surrounding towns. But I think everyone for the past since we moved here, people have said, "Oh, Maynard's on the upswing." We're still on that upswing. I think our downtown could do with a little bit of unifying, but it was true. Since we've been here, there have been some really beautiful projects that have come into place. The library used to be in the basement of the town hall.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever saw that.
I did.
Yeah.
I was actually I was one of the kids that was able to carry a book from the new, from the old to the new. Yeah.
Oh, do you remember how it was just small? It was in a basement. It was, and now we have this beautiful building,
Yeah.
multiple floors, lots of meeting rooms. It's just beautiful. And there's a new beautiful high school. The middle school was put in. The high school is 3 years old now, and the middle school is probably about 13 years old. So there has been a lot of change, but I think downtown continually kind of seems to go through cycles of some empty storefronts and then some renewal with the new movie theater that was rehabbed. It was totally restored, so that's beautiful. But there are a lot of empty storefronts still, and intersections that just could be a lot more attractive compared to look at these other towns. That's the only thing. I think we've got a great community, great people.
So do you have any specific or vivid memory that you would like to share, or?
There's nothing that's popping out. I think another thing that's cool is the refuge that's used to be part of a military compound, like a training ground.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it encompasses Stowe and Maynard, and I don't even know the other towns, but now, I just think about being able to take the kids on explorations there and check out the bunkers, and have these beautiful wooded walks or way to commute from one place to another through the woods. It's really nice. And now we have a new bike trail too that's going to be done next year.
Yeah.
So
a lot of family-friendly activities around.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think about specific stories that maybe one will come to me.
So you mentioned your husband's a carpenter and you're a teacher. Do you teach around here, surrounding the school district?
Yeah, 8th grade special ed.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So are you passionate about your job? It's what you always wanted to do?
Yeah, I think I had gone through a couple of different ideas for a career, but this was something that I thought about when I was a kid, like, oh, I want to be a teacher, and then it came about later when I was about 30. And now it's been great. Yeah.
How has being a parent specifically like changed you? Like, obviously you're teaching your kids things, but
Mhm.
you're also learning from them, and it changes who you are. So, is there any like specific things you can think of?
I consider myself really lucky. If you were to say what am I really passionate about, I think that's the part of my life that I would say, this is like a kind of a dream come true, but that it's much harder than maybe I expected. You babysit a lot, and you teach and you do all these things, and then you realize that I don't know that I wish my I wish I had as much patience all the time as I'd like, because I think you just get worn out, just get tired. But I mean, it connects you like to that person that you wanted to be, and to all the people around you, to the world as a whole. They teach you, I think, too, about your own strengths and weaknesses, because they know you better than anybody else, because they see you day in, day out.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to ignore, what you need to work on. But our kids are amazing, so very lucky.
So, do you plan on staying in Maynard?
Yeah. I think, we found a home, we've got, a great community, and I think a lot of people, we're not the only ones, I think there was kind of a trend for a while of people growing out of the small housing stock here, a lot of two-bedroom homes, and people would eventually be looking to move to a bigger house, and maybe leave the town. And I think there's more housing that's out there now, so not just us. Of course, we would want to stay, but I think a lot of people are going to be more committed to staying in town because they'd have the space. So.
Oh, thank you very much for the interview. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry it's kind of boring.
Not at all.